What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Rhino Run call. I texted Kelly and I asked her what day today is. I want to say we're in the 80s. We're on the home stretch. Hacking Better is right around the corner. Literally, as soon as I get back from Alaska, we turn around and we go to Louisville, and it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited about the 4-day event being compressed into 2 days. We've never done a 2-day event. It's going to be amazing. And give me a thumbs up if our audio quality is good, our connection is good. Awesome. So I have the special honor and privilege of doing this with Mr. Bryon Jaymes. It's been a while since we've had him on a Zoom, and we have a lot of good information. Today's topic, habits, attitude, and momentum. Have you been playing full out on this 90-day Rhino Run? I see a lot of your faces on here every single day, so awesome job for consistently showing up. I see some faces on here that just probably hopped on because Brian's on. But let's get going. It is 8 a.m. here in Alaska. It is still dark outside. We had we literally had a ginormous moose 10 feet away from Brian in the front yard. I came around the front yard. Brian's trying to start the chainsaw. I was like, you see that giant moose? He's like, holy smokes. It's just awesome up here in Alaska. I hope everybody gets a chance to come up here and experience it. But somebody is unmuted. There we go. All right, so I'll turn it over to you for a few. We're in the day 80 something of the Rhino Run. We're on the home stretch. A little over a week left. Hacking Better in Louisville. Let's talk about habits and attitude and momentum.
All right, let's talk about it. Actually, I'm probably going to scrap this and talk about something different, but habits, attitude, and momentum. A lot of it, obviously, those things carry over. But first off, it's awesome to see everybody. As Nick said, we're here in Alaska. This is it's a really special place for me and my family, and I'll actually make mention of that here and kind of come back full circle. But what I was kind of thinking about last night and this morning when Nick asked for me to jump on this call was, I think sometimes many of us, I was literally listening, Nick was listening to a training of the Rhino Run that we had done back in January of 2019. And literally, I think what it did for most people is it brought everyone back to the simple things that we need to do on a daily basis in order to move ourselves forward, or in order to move our business forward. And it was funny because I mentioned in there, one of the things that I definitely took away from it, and I heard Nick over here say, amen, is that, this is a super simple business. The only thing that complicates it is people. The business itself is literally as simple as it could get. The only reason that it gets complicated is we so choose to complicate it because we don't make the thing the thing. We try to find different ways to, and this is kind of go back to an LCD topic, if you will, is blame, shame, and justify. Like we work so hard to get away from the things that we actually just need to do and do them on a daily basis in order to get the results that we want. So let me break this down. I have a coach, a mentor that, for my first, 5 years in this industry, I kid you not, is that I was so overthinking things. I was complicating things, and I would have aha moments. The more I stuck in with it, the more I stayed around and associated with people that had more experience, had a higher awareness, their awarenesses would start to rub off on me, and simplicity would come. I remember one day driving down the car listening to these audios, in this case specifically by, kind of like, I would say almost a very similar format to listening to somebody on a Rhino Run like this, but they would be recorded or they would be put on a CD, like calls that we would have just like this. And I would listen to them. And one day I was driving down the road. I'm like, oh my God, this is all we do. We just do this. And I was like, what was I thinking, or what blockage was happening in my brain before that was literally like confusing it? And it was just me. Like, remember, we bring in all our past experiences. We bring in all these things when we come to the table here as people. We bring all of our baggage with us, good, bad, and indifferent. That makes sense, right? And you have to understand that what we do here, the first thing that makes it different, the first thing that makes, in my opinion, entrepreneurship different is that this is solely on you, right? If it's to be, it's up to me. Like, it's not, you don't, like, if you don't start making calls at 8 a.m. or if you don't start prospecting or creating, different messages and posts to create attraction out there to pull people to you, to pull prospects to you, then like, you're not going to get slapped on the wrist. You're not going to get, pulled into HR. You're not going to get, you know what I'm saying? Like, entrepreneurship is, the beauty of it is you are your own boss. You get to do what you want, how you want. The fact that Prove It gives us the ability to become independent promoters with a vehicle that they've set up for us to be able to operate within is incredible. But, the same thing that makes it incredible is the same thing that makes it suck. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but meaning that nobody is going to tell you what to do. You have to figure it out. And if you look at traditional business statistics, like, you have to, you do it over and over and over and over again. Nick was talking about the company that he works for that was in business for over 30 years. And he's like, dude, some of their processes and some of their thought process towards certain actions when it comes to, being labor focused, would you say labor focused versus?
They were just so focused on saving $1. They would step over the $100 to pick up the dollar. It's like,
point is they still, after 30 years, 50 years, haven't completely figured it out. So what does that say about you and where you're at? And my point to start all this, to hopefully maybe you listen to some of it, is just saying that you see my success now. Like, people see my success now. They don't realize it is, if this is my journey, like, if this is my entire, experience here in this industry, being an entrepreneur, you see success. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If this is my journey, if this is what it took me to get to success, this is the amount of time that I've been successful, maybe even smaller. And that's what you see. You don't see back when, I guarantee you had more money in your bank account than I did. You don't see back when, I was literally driving home at night from meeting someone 2 states away at 2:00 in the morning, second guessing if, like, what the hell am I doing? Should I just go back and get a career? Should I, you're second guessing yourself and what I should be doing. And is this the right opportunity? And are people even interested? Right? So it's literally, the first thing you have to change if you want to be successful here is the way you think, your thought process. You have to think differently. And I'm going to break this down in the most simplistic 4 steps or 4 levels or 4 layers in how you build this business. And this is how it was taught to me. And this is what made the most simplicity. Like, this is what made things super, super, super simple for me to understand. Okay. So here we go. Is everybody ready? Everybody ready? Okay. Number 1 is volume. Volume. Just like any business, you understand that any business that you open, traditional, networking, affiliate, like, you understand that you're paid off of your volume of goods or your volume of services. Do we understand this? Right? Like, if you wanted to hire somebody right now, you would be hiring in volume, right? Their good or their service. Do we understand this, right? When we go get food, we're ordering volume. You understand that, right? If we have an electrician come over, we're ordering volume of his hours to fix the thing that you need fixed, right? You have to do volume. Businesses have to do volume or they can't stay in business. The volume is where you make ultimately the bottom dollar. Is this making sense to everybody? Volume. Your business needs volume. So how's the first way that happens? The first way that happens is with you personally. You personally. Like, yes, you personally. Are you, as a promoter, hopefully, number 1, if you haven't been taught this, just the first basic, you understand even by legal law, FTC regulation, is that just like any business, like if I was a car mechanic, right? Do you understand that I would not take, if I was a car mechanic, do you understand that I would not take my cars to somebody else? Why would I do that? Why? Because I would be taking volume and putting it somewhere else. And I want volume. Does this make sense? So if I'm a car mechanic, do you understand that I'm going to service my own personal cars? Now, do I have a tow truck for my thing, or do I have a whatever for my business? Sure, but I would have personal cars that I use for my personal use, even though I was a I owned a car mechanic shop, right? Or an auto body shop or whatever, right? I would use my own cars there. So the first question is are you, right, the best customer of yourself? And literally in the system, that's how I have it set up. I'm a promoter and I have myself signed up as a customer, right? Because I'm the best customer of myself. Hopefully this makes sense. And when I say that am I maximizing my purchasing power here? Like, are there other things that I'm spending my money on that I should be redirecting into my own business? So for me, I have not bought an off-the-shelf energy supplement drink anything for 4 years now. You understand this? Like, I am making sure that volume stays in my business and with me. So I don't buy, I just mixed up one of my ketones and I put MCT 143 in there. I don't have, what's his name? Dave Asprey's, MCT oil in my closet. I don't have, you understand what I'm saying? Everything that I can possibly keep in my ecosystem in terms of volume, I do it through myself. I do it through my own company. I do it through Prove It, right? So I don't use anything else. Like I went for almost 3 years and I never even bought coffee. And it wasn't because I didn't like coffee. And actually I take that back. It wasn't until we got Keto Cream that I then started drinking coffee again. But for that time that we didn't have Keto Cream, and just so you know, it was a long time that when we got started, did you have Keto? When you got started, do you have Keto Cream?
My first serving of Keto Cream was February 17th, 2016. You gave me one sample, but it wasn't officially on the site till like November. So
and you got started a year after I got started. Year and a half.
From our initial launch a year. Yeah.
Point being is that it wasn't, I only had so many resources and I was going to put them into me and mine, right? So literally there was a period I remember going and I never drank any coffee. Do you know why? I had no way to take advantage of the volume of that coffee. If anything, it was an expenditure. It was taking personal resources away from me and giving it to Starbucks or giving it to somebody else. Do we understand it? I want to keep as much volume inside of my personal business and ecosystem as possible. Rule number one, right? And if I become a great example of my product and using my product or products, plural, then guess what? I can now just simply share that example with someone else. And I want to start multiplying myself. This makes sense. So especially from a product standpoint, I'm not saying that you have to be a super crazy and just take this. This is an attraction tip. This is a social tip. I'm not saying that you have to be a prove it whack job. Like everything you are is prove it, because I think that you do then tip over the scale. And now you the same thing you're trying to attract, you're actually deflecting. You're pushing them away because they're like, man, I would really like the results of that, but am I going to become a whack job in the process? Or am I going to be like, so you know what I'm saying? For me, it's subtle. Like it's everything we talk about. Nick and I, we didn't even try, and we had 3 conversations about ketones, like literally on the way here. And I didn't intend to have them. They just naturally happened. Right. But the thing is that, I was enough of an example. I wasn't wearing a keto. Nick was, which is awesome. At the time I wasn't, but at the time I had ketones in my bag and Nick didn't. So it was like a tag team. I was still
he just texted me
able to prove that, hey, this is what I do. Like if I spoke about it, I want to be about it. Nothing worse than saying, yeah, keto's great and all this and that. And hey, I can get some samples or learn about it and not have any. Like, could you imagine that? And then people were like, well, how great really is this if you don't have anything to, you're just giving me lip service. Does this make sense? Like, if you're going to talk about it, you got to be about it. If the Prove It police came to your house today, would there be enough evidence to convict you of being a loyal promoter? Right? If I open up your fridge, what's in there? If I open up your cabinets, what's in there? So that's the first thing. And I want to hit this over and over again because it's the foundation. These other levels, these other layers don't exist if you don't have the foundation right, which is, are you keeping volume in your own business as much as possible through your own personal use? Right? That's important. And how much is it? Like, because if you get down to numbers and you want to equate what it takes to become a Circle of Champion, if I know that myself personally, in my own house, I use, 300 BV of this product. If I multiply that by a certain number, I get to 30,000. You understand? And what does 30,000 mean to someone like Jess Nouse? It means the vehicle that she gets into and drives on a daily basis. But I want you to think about that. If it was just you using your product times how many ever that number to get to where you want to be, boom, you immediately have a goal and you have literally a roadmap of exactly how to obtain and get that thing, right? Now we come into the second layer, the second part of layer one, which is now customer volume, right? Customers. So let's back up. Level one, layer one is volume. And volume starts not with your customers, not with your promoters. It starts with you. Stop trying to get somebody else to do what you yourself are not willing to commit to doing. Or stop trying to get someone else to be 100% loyal when you're only 75% loyal or you're only 50% loyal. You have to be, if there's anywhere I want you to be crazy and whacked out, it's when it comes to volume, because it's a smart business decision. Any business owner would tell you that. Any business owner would tell you that. It's basic common sense business 101. Layer one is volume. Layer two is people. People. Because if you add people to volume, what I just mentioned, so if Jess Nouse right now, if Jess is using, right, 300 BV of products, that's how much volume is flowing through her. That's what she knows how to do. She's created a budget to be able to do it. She's created, literally a system to be able to accomplish that. If she adds on another person and just has that person do exactly what she's doing or even half of what she's doing, we've now gone from 300 to 600 because we have to add a body, a person. And a person comes in the form of a customer or promoter. That's the only two way people can join Prove It, as a customer or as a promoter. But the foundation is what volume are you currently doing? Now we add people, and now they add to the volume that we're creating, right? So number one is, all right, so let me just get muted out. Layer one is volume, layer two is people. If you add more people plus volume, right? So customers and promoters. How do we get customers? How do we get promoters? We're attracting people. So the question is for each and every one of you, if you want to bring someone else on board, there's two things you have to get good at. Number one is having certainty in why you're taking ketones. Like, why do you take them? Not everybody, if you are super certain what ketones do for you in terms of your cognitive function, your brain, or whatever your story is, stop trying to go after people as it pertains to weight loss, because when you get in and they start asking questions and because they want that result and you're not super convicted by it because you haven't lost any weight yet your benefits from ketones are completely different, you're losing certainty and you're losing the battle of influence. They're going to out-influence you or they're going to intimidate you. You have to be super certain on why are you taking ketones? What are your results? Like, if it wasn't for those, like that result, then, you have to have conviction behind something. So what is your conviction behind? And stick with that. Now, if someone else's is, and here's the thing, if I've been taking ketones and I freaking love them, right? And I'm sold out to ketones and what they do for me, maybe it's my digestive system, maybe it's the way I sleep, maybe it's literally my cognitive function, but I haven't lost any weight yet, then that's not part. But here's what's so cool about a team type of business. I can point to Mike Sipe and say, listen, I haven't lost any weight yet, but these are all the benefits that I've had, but check out Mike, right? He's lost the weight that you want to lose. So what's cool is you can always use a team to match the hatch. It's just like, listen, if you're on a football team, not everybody's got a great arm. Hopefully the quarterback does, because that's their position, right? But at the same time, right, not everybody's going to be as strong as the center. Like, everyone that make up the team, they all have their own they have their own strengths, they have their own personalities, and you can use them because it's a team. We are using each other as a team to ultimately get ourselves to where we want to be. Is this making sense? Just nod your head if it's making sense. Okay, awesome. So we add people to the equation. If you add volume to people, right? You add more people, which adds more volume. You now get layer number 3, which is ranks. People plus volume equals ranks. And our entire system is made up of ranks, 1 to 10, 1 to legend, right? And there's multiple sub ranks that as you increase in rank, you increase in commission percentage. As you increase in commission percentage, you get a higher return, right? So layer 1 is volume. You have to personally be good and be that flagship example of volume. Once you add customers to your flagship example, or once you add promoters to your flagship example, or once customers become promoters that see your flagship example, your volume multiplies. Does this make sense? As your volume multiplies, you hit bigger ranks. And as you hit bigger ranks, you make more money. I'm just giving you the most layman's terms here possible. Now, when we add volume, plus now we add people to the volume to create more volume, we now start breaking ranks, layer 3. As we start now, and now if we add all 3 of those up together, volume, people, and ranks, the last and the highest level is leadership. Leadership. And I don't mean leadership to where you need to be able to write a book. I don't mean leadership to where you need to be able to do a TED Talk. I don't mean leadership where, like, not that type of leadership. I just literally mean that there are enough people in volume for you to have responsibility over that you choose to set a good example of, helping more people move forward. Like, it's just like with your kids. Like, some of you say, well, I'm not a leader. I'm not an influencer. If you have a child, you're a leader. If you have a pet, you're a leader. You understand that, right? You understand that that pet is dependent on your care. You have to lead it. You have to lead them out to go to the bathroom. And as simple as that sounds, it's still leadership. All of you lead or influence someone or something. If you want to have more, and you're naturally going to have more, if you add more bodies and more people to your business and you start breaking more ranks, you are gaining awareness, you're gaining credibility of being able to do something, accomplish something, and you're going to have the choice. And here's what's so cool. If you don't want to be a leader, it's actually okay. But you need to be good at connecting people that want more to a leader, to somebody that can simply coach them. And this is where leadership coaching dynamics comes into play. And I know many of you have been to LCD, and you learn that as you take people through volume, adding people, breaking ranks, and adding and people developing as leaders, you want to go through the process of C1 to C3 coaching. Just like you do with the best example I could give is your kids, right? Just like the example it just had me on a Zoom a while ago, and I just talked about C1 through C3 and what it truly is. Like, I do, you watch, right? So when I'm getting somebody a new body started, I'm taking over the controls and showing them how they can maximize volume in their own personal household, in their own personal routine, if you will, right? I want to show them how to maximize SmartShip. I want to show them, I want to help them create as much volume as humanly possible because they're the example of the next person they bring on. And then they're the example of the next person they bring on. And then they're example of the next person that they bring on, right? So we're building business centers. We're multiplying business centers. And just like any business, we have the ability to bring on customers, which, check this out. This is what's cool. And this has always been my thought process. And I want you to start changing your mindset to, I know there's some entrepreneurs on here, but I want you to start thinking this way. Stop, value your business, value yourself, value your time, value your resources. What do I mean by that? Start qualifying people to become promoters on your team. Just check this out. I don't want just anybody to become a promoter in my private business. And here's the reason why. When I sit down with somebody and you sit down with somebody or a customer that's interested, I spend more time talking them out of becoming a promoter and you spend more time begging them into becoming a promoter. What's the difference? Well, here's the thing. If I run an electrical company or a construction company, I don't want just any freaking bum off the street to come, hey, will you come work for me? Will you come work for me? Will you come work? You don't even have any qualification. All you're going to do is screw my jobs up where I'm going to have to come in and have 3 times the work. Does this make sense? I want to qualify right people. And as I've gone through all the promoters that I've enrolled over the past 4.5 years, I literally, while some of them has rolled as promoters, they're simply customers to me because they didn't do anything and I didn't spend any time or energy and effort on them because I'm not in the business of trying to convince people or convince people to do something they don't want to do. I want people that want to be here. It's just like hiring a real business. Like, it's just like putting a resume out there and picking the most qualified person. So check this out. When it comes to customers, everyone's qualified. Do you understand this? Everybody on the planet is qualified. Every single person. There's not a person on this planet that can't get a benefit from these ketones. Straight up. Everyone's qualified. And for my customers, I bend over backwards and do whatever I can. When they decide to become a promoter, that is not the case. And if it takes you 5 years to find a good one, then it takes you 5 years to find a good one. Literally. That's what it took me. There is not one person that's in business with me today that was in my business in my first 5 years of this industry. Let me say that again. How many of you have been in this industry for 5 years? Okay, somebody waved, but I don't know if that's a hand. So bottom line is that, you're not even there yet. So the people that you have that are ultimately part of your success aren't even here today, and they probably won't be. Some of them maybe will be, but it takes time. Like, I was doing this thing for 5 years on blind faith because somebody told me, hey, literally just learn what you're doing, learn the processes, start changing your thought process and do the actions, income generating activities daily so that until you gain an awareness of what you're doing. And then at one point it'll click and you'll be able to do it and help other people do it with absolute certainty. But 5 years, some are like, well, Bryon, that's a waste of 5 years. Really? Because I wouldn't give back any of the things that I'm experiencing in life right now. And it was a long, hard road. I had a lot of people tell me I was an idiot. A lot of people told me I was wasting my talent. A lot of people tell me that I should be putting my hard work into something else. That's not what they're telling me today. Actually, those same people I don't know what they're doing. Probably the same thing they were doing when they told me not to do what I was doing. Right? So that when it comes to leadership just means that I'm showing other people, I'm leading other people into the actions that get them to where they want to be, right? So am I maximizing the volume flow through my business? Am I adding people to my business through customers and promoters? If they decide to be a promoter, I'm qualifying them. I only want to work with people that work with me. I'll give as much as you give to me. People say, like, if you saw me in my bed, I was traveling 24/7 to people that were as committed to me as I was to them and vice versa. And I will do that. And I would continue to do that. I invested back in my business. I lived on a shoestring budget. I did it all, investing it back into my business with people that want to work for me. The biggest frustration here is getting people to try to get people to do or drag people to do something on a daily basis they themselves don't want to do. It's clear cut and simple. If they are a customer, you help them create more volume. If they are a promoter, right, I am spending my time, energy, effort, resources with them. And if they're not the right person, I should just go back and gain more customers and look for more people until I find the right person, until I qualify the right person. Because when you have the right person, you can start to multiply. When you have the wrong person, you actually slow your momentum and start to detract from multiplication. You start subtraction. I want multiplication. I don't want subtraction. And that's why in order to have multiplication, you need to have the right people that follow your example in volume, that add people to their business, and that start to break ranks, right? And this is important. And when they become leaders or take over the reign of leadership to show other people what to do, that's all it is people taking the responsibility to show other people what to do. Boom. Now they can start having results outside of you. And that's what's great. Remember, 4.5 years ago, Nick wasn't even in business. He wasn't even started. He was just another person. And I was sending ketones and it was like, I'm really fired up. And his wife's like, no. And the bottom line is that I didn't put any effort into Nick when he was actually interested because Kelly wasn't yet interested. And I knew that it would be a waste of my time, energy, effort, resources if I was pulling him in one direction and he was pulling it in the other. So I spent my time with other people that were going crazy and wanting to build their business and wanted my time instead of convincing Nick, who I knew would be great, but was being pulled in another direction. So all I did was kept inviting him. I kept inviting him and Kelly, and eventually they both came to something, and that's when it clicked. And boom, now I turned my effort and energy over to them because they were now as committed to me as I was to them or vice versa. Does this make sense? Right? Last thing is this. is once you are in a position, and it could be just one other person, if one other person has replicated your volume, if one other person is making an attempt to prospect and bring on customers and obviously find the right ones to invite into the promoter conversation, and if you are starting to go from rank 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 with just a handful, you still are in a position to lead people to do what you've done, right? If 2 rank 2s make a 4, 2 rank 4s make an 8, you know what I mean? Like my point is that it all adds up. Here's the thing that good leaders or people that are in a position of leadership do, just like you do with your kids. And it's so second nature that you don't even know that you do it. Like when your kids, they do this, and your promoters do this. Your kids always want to know, like Atlas tells me all the time, daddy, like he loves to hunt and fish, but there's certain things he likes to do that he can't do yet, right? Like he can't fish on this river yet because it's so powerful and it's so big that one little mistake and he could hurt himself badly. Obviously, when he becomes an adult, I have to take him to kind of a little lake, like a little lake that kind of looks like a pond to fish because he's safe there or whatever. But I'm always letting him, he's always telling me, Dad, I want to fish on the river. I want to fish on the river. And I'm always telling him, hey, buddy, you keep doing what you're doing and you keep learning how to fish here and you're going to be able to fish on, you get a little bigger, you're going to fish. I am constantly, a good leader is constantly talking about the future, is constantly giving vision for the future. That's how we all operate. Like we can't wait till that vacation. We can't wait till a good leader keeps people's minds and their focus and their attention on the things in the future that they want the most. Let me repeat that. A good leader keeps someone focused down the road in the future of the things that they want the most. Like Jess is another great example of this, is that in Jess's first year, like I truly believe that the reason she's around today is because she had a goal, and I know what her goal is, and it's still her goal, and she, it's right there at her fingertips. But point is that every time I talk to her, and she, even if she's coming to me, no offense, but she doesn't do it anymore, but back in the day comes to me and with some negative blame, shame, and justify, type deal to where she's at today. My point is what I would always do is say, hey, Jay, do you want to leave? Like, do you truly want to be independent? Do you want to be free? Right? And what's cool is while she's still in the pursuit of that, she's had a hell of a lot of really good, things along the way that have helped to get her close. She has a vehicle now to drive to that vision that's paid for. Because she stuck her head down and focused. There were multiple times where she could have quit, where I thought she was going to quit, where she didn't quit. Now she has the awarenesses of those things. Now she can help other people overcome those same, negative thoughts. Like, you understand, because she's been through this. But what helped her get through it was every time she would come to me, I never talked to her about the situation, because all that it was a situation she was going through at that time, right then and there, that she was having trouble with, or she was having frustrations, or she was having second thoughts, or she was having something happen in her mindset, that I said, hey, Jess, do you want to be free? Is your freedom more important than this situation that you're in right now, this temporary situation you're in right now? And it always pulled her out of it. It always pulled her forward. It always got her back on the track, right? Always. You have to remember, what are you doing this for? Because I will tell you that in my first year, even 2 years, I never thought that I would accomplish what I'd accomplished today. I'm sitting in a house that I closed on. This is $1 million riverfront property, and I have the ability right now. It's getting renovated. It's amazing. And I have the resources and ability to do it. It's not even about the things, because don't take this wrong, and if your kids are around, close their ears, but I don't give a shit about the house or what's in it. Here's what I do give a shit about. The memories that I've created since I've closed on this property, of me and my son down here at the fire pit cooking s'mores, of me and my wife sitting out and having our coffee on the balcony as this blue river, glacier-filled river, flows by, and bald eagle after bald eagle come by, and mama moose and baby moose come and literally lay down right in the front yard. Like, in the memories we make and the things that we talk about and the things that we do, like, I did all this to be able to make memories. I did all this for the things I wanted for my family in the future. And the thing is that if you don't stay focused and you don't keep other people focused on the thing, then, and it takes a long time. Here's my last thing, and I'm going to say, I'm going to shut up, is that it takes a long time. You ask yourself, is it worth it? There are so many other benefits that come along the way of you pursuing your dream, of you pursuing your goal. And I will tell you this, people that go through life every day without a goal, and they're not in constant pursuit of a goal, they will eventually fall into oblivion and don't, I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers here, but will turn, like, they will, if they don't create a goal will be created for them. And many times it's super negative. It's their goal will be taken over by like alcohol or drugs, or they will lack. When a man or woman has no vision, the book that I read says where a man or woman have no vision, they perish. You have to constantly be infusing vision into people of what they want, right? Not what they have, but what they want, right? And where they want to be. And the constant pursuit of, like, our business, like, what does Prove It stand for? The constant pursuit of better. Of, if you do this, you become a better version of yourself. I can't tell you how many people have come and gone. They've done business with me, they've had some success, and they've quit, or they've gone else, or life circumstances took them elsewhere. They still give the credit back to this as why they're succeeding in life, because they were shown goals. They had an association of people that were also pursuing their goals. Point is by committing to bettering yourself here, you're going to make yourself better in every area of your life. You can't lose, is my point. Like, the woman Jess is today, if she didn't make a dime and prove it, and if she wasn't where she was from a rank perspective or whatever, I'm just telling you this personally, I respect her more today than I did back. Like, none of my respect has to do with the car she drives. None of my respect has to do with the money that she's made. None of my respect has to do with any of it. It has to do with the woman that she's become. She's found herself through the pursuit of her goals. Literally found herself as a person in the pursuit of her goals. Is that valuable? Hell yes, it is, because that's the example that she's going to set for her kids for future generations. Is someone that's strong and certain, not someone that's timid and life is taking them, where it wants to go. They're taking life where they want it to go. Does this make sense? Like, there are so many benefits here that are not monetary. Like, there is your health, and we can't unfortunately rate that. Like, and I go back to Missy and Mike, where it's like, if Mike if Mike continued in his current path and journey, would he live as many days on this earth as he would have if he didn't make the change that he made now? And while right now, when he's at his current age and whatever, we don't think about that stuff. But when you're, 70, when you're 65, I mean, I just heard of someone the other day that had a heart attack and they were 45 years old. I heard of someone the other day, they were 55. And in my mind, that's way too early. I'm looking at myself right now. And if by the time I just have my 37th birthday, and I'm just thinking, because I have kids now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my daughter's going to be 25 and I'm going to be this age. And man, if she doesn't have kids at that time, I want to live to see my grandkids. And, the decisions we make, we look back, how many people have I met and talked to that have regrets on, man, I wish I would have changed this. Man, I would talk to a guy the other day. He said he smoked for 20 years, but he's now not smoked. He started smoking when he was 12 years old, and he stopped smoking when he was 45. I don't know what the time frame is. Right now he's 40. Now he's almost 60, right? He's been clean for that long. He says the number one regret I have is those years that I did smoke. Because now that I have grandkids, now that, my grandkids are getting ready to have kids, I wish I would have made decisions that gave me more time with them, not took more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to future cast for you way in the future, where it's like decisions you're making now could put another year on your life. What if right now you were told you had a year left, would you value that year? Like, that's why there's so many benefits there. I can't press this enough. And if you know that, my gosh, like, just last thing, and I know I said that twice now, is commit. Just, you have to commit. This is a very aggressive saying, but it's true. You've probably seen it on t-shirts, but I agree with it totally. If you don't commit to something, you will fall for everything. Like, if you don't stand for something, if you don't commit to something, you will fall for everything else. I only implore you today to take control of your own future. Even if it's not this, Like, let it be entrepreneurship. Let it be bettering yourself in terms of your physical body, in terms of your mind. Grow your mind. If you grow your body, and grow your mind, only good things can happen. Like, only good things can happen. You will influence other people to do the same thing. And we're in a business that pays us on influence, right? That influence leads to volume. Volume leads to people. More people leads to ranks. Volume plus people equals ranks. Volume plus people plus ranks equals people in position of leadership. And then we start getting what we want. We start multiplying. So hopefully that made sense. Sorry to ramble. Like, I know your call is supposed to be 15 minutes or 30 minutes, but that just will never happen with me. So
it never has. Why start now? That was awesome. I was actually taking notes while he was talking. That was fire. I'm pretty sure we didn't stay on topic, but it's okay because that was priceless. But what really hit me, I had a call to action, but I really want to shift gears on that after hearing that, is that I don't think we do a good enough job of painting the picture of why we drink ketones every day, twice a day. Some of you crazy asses, 3 times a day. I see Missy up there chomping at the bit. But I don't think we do a good enough job of painting the picture of why we drink ketones. So your call to action today is to make a post, a picture of you with your blender bottle, a picture of you with your spouse, a picture of whatever, why you drink ketones. Like, I 1000% drink ketones for cognitive benefits. Like, I need to paint a better picture of that. Like, so go make a post, do a Facebook Live, do a time-lapse video. I know some of you already do time-lapse videos in your story, but paint a picture of why you drink ketones every day. I don't think one person on the Zoom drinks ketones every other day or once a week. Like, we drink them every day. And Amanda Vilfort said, thanks, Bryon, good to see you. But guys, we're just getting started. Like, so awesome. But that's all I have. Your call to action, go make a post, a Facebook Live, a video, a time-lapse video, and post that on your wall, not in your story. And scream from the mountaintops, like, we love ketones. They're amazing. Pam Mateer said, hell no, every day, 2 to 3 times a day. Amen. Ketones are freaking amazing. But we're going to get busy. We're going to go have the most insane cup of coffee ever made in the world. Bryon told me that yesterday. We're going to go have the most epic coffee you've ever had in your life. They didn't have enough to make 2 larges, so we had 2 mediums, and I was like, guys, thanks everybody for showing up. Go make your posts, go make your videos, and we will see you tomorrow. I lost track of the days. I'm still on East Coast time. We'll see you tomorrow for the noon call. Have a great day.